The Battle for Certainty. May 17, 2026. What it comes down to is the concept of a probability bordering on certainty. In the essay, an imaginary cathedral is sketched. The pillars are of causal logic, the vaults of integrated information. It is a coherent and hopeful structure. But every cathedral is built on a foundation of assumptions. And where do those come from? Given the model, something might perhaps be proven with certainty, but the model itself is at most highly probable. The temptation of the conclusive answer. The model I present posits that reality is not based on an infinite rounded Ruliad, but on a single, active, minimal rule. This claim solves elegant problems. It eliminates the rounded infinity that I label a phantom. It provides an ontological foundation for IIT. It turns heaven into a construction rather than a revelation. The temptation is then great to take the next step. From "this model provides an explanation" to "this is reality." There is a catch here. Our rejection of a rounded infinity is a philosophical choice, driven by an aesthetic or existential need for a living, independent process. But the universe owes us no aesthetic coherence. Perhaps our consciousness possesses properties that conceal the truth. The existence of the Ruliad is not necessary, but neither is it impossible. The limits of certainty. What it boils down to is the concept of probability bordering on certainty. In science and law, this is the highest achievable. DNA evidence that uniquely matches a suspect. The predicted orbit of an asteroid based on general relativity. These are not absolute certainties, but converging lines of evidence that render doubt unreasonable. My construction is first and foremost a coherent research project. It is a hypothesis that exhibits maximum internal consistency and offers a hopeful, ethical framework. The exact formulation of the rule is unknown to us. We cannot program it. We cannot calculate whether the causal structure it generates actually corresponds to observations. The statement that the universe began with its own minimal input is, for the time being, a metaphysical postulate, not an observation. Therefore, I reformulate the firm conclusions of this essay here with a necessary margin of uncertainty. It is impossible that the Ruliad is the foundation of reality. It is, an active causal rule is equally a fundamental and fruitful model for the living process that we experience. The alternative to absolute certainty. The responsible position is a fundamentally open attitude based on the unknown. For example, nothing can ever arise from nothing. Okay, let's assume then that normally nothing can arise from something. But what was there before the Big Bang? We don't know. But if we really don't know, it could also have been the void. One well-documented, inexplicable phenomenon, a causal event that cannot be traced back to the rule in any way, would undermine the entire construction. To date, such a phenomenon has not been found. And if that remains the case, that is the true basis of the model. It is not that the universe cannot possibly be otherwise. It is that the universe behaves consistently and reliably, up to the limits of our measurement accuracy.